Alright guys, so in this is video A52, and in this particular one I'm going to do several math problems for you. The key to percents is to understand that per means per and cent means hundred, as in there's 100 cents in a dollar. And cent, as in century, being 100 years. Okay. Alrighty, so, or if, anyway. So, percent means per 100. And if you remember that, the rest of this isn't so difficult. So, let's go ahead and take a look at, for your homework, let's go ahead and take a look at number 5. So, need a pen, don't I? Number 5, says 0.50, and obviously this is a decimal, and I want to write it as a percent. So the first thing, I need to be clear on is this is, 50, right, out of 100, and therefore it is 50%. Okay? So if I got 50% on a test, it means I got, half of the questions correct. All right, let's do another one of these. So let's say we do, let's take a look at 17. So 17, I want to write, this says that I have 1/5, and I want to write it as a percent. Well, it's important for me to understand that a percent means per 100. So let's go ahead and change this to per 100, in which case I have to think about what can I multiply 5 by in order to get 100, and the answer is 20. So let's multiply top and bottom by 20. Well, 20 times 5 gives us 100, and 20 times 1 gives us 20. So if I have 20 out of 100, that means that I have a 20%. All right, and then if I do yet one more here, let's say that I take, let's see, what other one shall I do? I want to write it as a decimal, so let's say I do number 33, and that says I have 8%. I hate it when it does that. 8%, and I want to write it as a decimal. Well, I need to remember that a percent is what? Oh yeah, that's right, out of 100. So I have a total of 8 out of 100. And I want to write that as a decimal, so that tells me I have 8 out of 100, so there it is as 8 100ths. And those are all equal to each other. So the easiest thing to remember, once again, is to remember that a percent is out of 100. Okay, so let's do one more from your homework, and I don't know, I'm going to do number 41. So number 41 says that I have 33 1/3 percent, and I want to write that as a fraction. So this tells me I have, 33 1/3 out of 100, because that's a percent. Well, that works out to be exactly 1/3. All right, so there you go. So not only did I do an example, but I did 4 examples, and I think what I will ask you for your extra credit is, what does percent mean? And you will tell me it means per 100. Therefore, whenever I do a percent, it is out of 100. All right, so that takes care of the first one. We'll move on and do a few more from your homework. All right, so moving on with more of these problems. If I have 33.5% of 96? So in this particular problem, I need to remember that when I do a percent, it's always part over total is equal to part out of 100. Well, in this case, I have the percent, so I know that I have 30, I think that should have been a 3. I have 33 and a third, sorry, that should have been a 3, out of 100 is equal to, well, I don't know the part that I have out of a total of 96. So once again, guys, this simply becomes I have a, single fraction equal to a single fraction, so I'm going to cross multiply. So let's go ahead and, we're going to cross multiply. And that's going to give us 100 times x is equal to 96 times 33 and 1/3, right? So if we go ahead and do that, we're going to get 100x is equal to, and then we can go ahead and take 96 times 33 and a third, and we're going to get 100x, oh shoot, I already wrote that, is equal to 3,199.68, right? And therefore, let's just see if I can erase this, if it will let me. Yes, it did, yay. And then, I divide both sides by 100, which means, right, I move my decimal over 2 places, so x is equal to approximately 32. So this is saying, really, right, this is 33 and a third out of 100, so that's approximately 1/3. 1/3 of 96 is 32. Sure enough, if you took 32 and you multiplied it by 3, you'd get back your 96. So there's one example. Let's go ahead and do another example of this kind of problem. All right, here, let's go ahead and do, let's do number 11. So let's do a number 11 from the homework. Oops, need a pen. Number 11. And number 11 says 15% of 250 is what? All right. So once again, let's think about this in terms of part over totals. So I'm going to have part over total is equal to part out of 100, right? Because a percent is always out of 100. So this part over here is easy. I have 15 out of a total of 100. That's my 15%, right? Now I have this 250 is my total, so it goes in the denominator. And I want to know what's the part that I have. Once again, single fraction, I can cross multiply. So let's go ahead and cross multiply. Oh, goodness gracious, that doesn't even look like a cross. So I have 100x is equal to 250 times 15. So I'm going to go ahead and take 250 times 15. I get 100x is equal to 3,750. I divide both sides by 100. And I get x is equal to, once again, guys, this is a move my decimal over 2 places, because that's, the 2 zeros there. 300, that gives me 37 5/10. Okay, and that kind of makes sense because, 15's a long way from 100, and 3750 is kind of a long way from 250. All right, so that's our quick check on this one. Okay, let's do one more problem from your homework. All right, guys, so this one is a camping tent is on sale for $33, or for 33 and a third % off. That should have another F in it, shouldn't it? Off. Find the sale price on a $75 tent. So in this case here, right? What I do know is part over total is equal to part out of 100. So the percent is easy, right? Because that's going to be 33 1/3 out of 100, because that's my percent. And then I'm looking for the sale price, so I know the sale price is going to be less than the total regular price. So the 75 goes in the denominator, and I'm looking for x. Once again, single fraction, cross multiply. So here we go, let's cross multiply. So I get 100x is equal to 33 1/3 times 75, and that's going to give me 100x is equal to 33 1/3 times my 75, and I get 2,499.75. I divide everybody by 100, and that gives me x is equal to, once again, you know, I have here my 2 zeros, so that tells me I moved my decimal point over twice, so I get, you know, $24.99. Now what I need to be clear on is that isn't the price of the tent, that is just the sale price. So I have to take, you know, 75 and subtract that from it, right? So I'm going to take, so this gives me the percent off. So I have to take $75, right? And from that I'm going to subtract $24.99, right? And that's going to tell me that it costs, that's going to give me 0.01, and where am I here? It's going to become a 4, right? And I'm going to end up with it costing me $50.01. All right, so once again, you know, the most important thing to remember is a percent is out of 100, and we can do part over total is equal to part out of 100. So I think your extra credit question, your part 2 on this one is going to be, you know, when I set it up as part over total is equal to part out of 100, and you know, my quick check to see if my answer is right is to see if my numerator, you know, if you know that the if that's not what I wanted. I wanted that. Is to see if, you know, my numerator is smaller than my denominator here, to make sure my numerator is smaller than my denominator there. All right? And that takes care of this day's video.